Welcome to Blockchain Security Series, the podcast where the future of Web3 security unfolds. Presented by pablito.eth.
Hello and welcome. I am Pablo Sabbatella, your guide through the intricate and evolving world of blockchain security. Each episode we dive deep into the heart of Web3, bringing you face-to-face with the pioneers and key players shaping the blockchain security ecosystem. Presented by Blockfence. So, thank you very much for joining us today. Today is the very first episode of a series of interviews we are gonna do with people that are highly involved in the blockchain security ecosystem. So, welcome you. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for this amazing opportunity. I'm very glad to talk on your amazing Twitter space room. I'm very happy to share my knowledge and to answer all of your questions. And I'll share with you top 20 tips for on-chain OpSec, which I created especially for this interview. So I hope you guys will enjoy it. Really glad. Nothing to add.
Excellent, excellent. So, well, before we begin, I got to know your account, like I think 1 year and a half ago or 2 years ago, and I really liked it because you had a lot of blockchain security. You also talked a lot about operational security, right? And one of the biggest problems I see in the blockchain ecosystem is that people, users, devs, everyone thinks that a chain is a technology that is secure and that has not been broken up to now. Everything is secure, right? And nobody cares about operational security. And I really liked your approach. So, well, I would like perhaps to start. If you can tell us a little bit about yourself, how you started, or how was your path in blockchain into security? What can you tell us?
Sure, of course. First of all, I want to state that I'm a fan account. I'm not associated with CIA or some kind of a governmental or criminal agency. I'm working solely and just for myself. Not affiliated with any of the known entities. I want to state this disclaimer beforehand, before moving forward to my background. Well, first of all, I started in Web2. I recently published an article to my Mirror blog. I strongly encourage you guys to go to check it out and to read a little bit about and my background. I started with banking security, and my first job was in a bank. Worked there as a security specialist, and was specializing on engineering solutions, which we implemented for securing our main data center, which we used for processing of the transactions which were happening with real many shares and so on, because this bank also had own exchange, was a very big bank. Next, well, in 2016, I suddenly discovered for myself an amazing world of crypto when joined one of the projects. I community manager initially. Then I became a manager. This project was doing some kind of an analysis, some kind of due diligence for investors. This time in 2016, I remember it very good. Was a very hyping ICO theme. I never participated in any of them, but I made a lot of due diligence to this topic. So after that, in 2017, maybe I quit crypto and went out working as a private investigator, security specialist, because it's also a very valuable topic of my account, and it takes a major part of my content, open source intelligence mixed with OpSec and so on, because it's also based on my background and my old experience. So it all continued until my close friend, once before the new year, soon will be the anniversary, in 2020, called me and invited to his project, which was a fork of Sushi, a DeFi farm, one of the first. I went out there and worked there on multiple roles, like at once was a community manager, security guy. I set up a domain protection, anti-phishing protection, anti-fraud, and any kind of help provided to them. So this was how my journey started. And after that, I discovered plenty of good Telegram chats like Lobster DAO, ETH Security, and so on. And when I joined them, I discovered that I can exchange my knowledge with people, and thus cross benefit the community and myself. So that's how my journey started. Initially, it all started from my Telegram account, so I didn't actually had a Twitter, but later, a lot of people suggested, so I should set up a proper Twitter account, and so I did it. And surprisingly, it was a big surprise for me. It started gaining followers, impressions, views, and so I decided to continue. Right now, I'm collaborating solely as a private consultant, manager with multiple projects, like it's stated in my bio. You can check. I don't want to name this now on your room, but I've worked with multiple reliable projects, and my income currently made of my collaborations, and it's very important, user donations, because I really expect a lot of donations to come this year, because hopefully bear market is closing to its end. Hopefully we'll see bull market soon, and I will start getting donations again, because lately the donation sum and donation average check has been reduced, and the area is totally devastated. So it's really hard to fund public knowledge, to gain new followers, and simply to get more impressions, because it's bear market. Well,
yeah, totally. I agree. And something related to what you're saying is that I think that lots of the content that you share are like a public good, right? And well, we have the problem of public goods, of how you fund them, right? Because the same thing must happen to you, but I mean far more than in my case. But I receive between 2 or 3 messages daily of someone that has been scammed or hacked or has lost all their money due to some security issue. But everyone, like 99% of people, contacts you after the incident, right? So what do you think about this issue with security, of not only how to sell, not only how to give awareness before an incident happens, right? How do we make people be interested in security, or how do we make people invest time in OpSec when everyone thinks that it's not going to happen to them? And then, apart from investing time, this issue of how do we fund projects like yours that generate all this knowledge that is really useful for the community, but that perhaps it's difficult to sell it like a product or a service, right?
Yeah, right. Well, first of all, I want to mention I'm not doing private investigations and so on, Yeah, it's very true that a lot of people contact me after the hack, but I can do nothing but to suggest to contact reliable consulting companies, which in turn also can do nothing but suggest them to go to the local police. But they consult you how to do that properly, at least. So that's all I can do. About how my content is funded. Well, I'm collaborating with two projects currently. That's Remedy and Web3 antivirus. I'm saying hello to the Web3 antivirus who has joined our perfect voice room. So they support me on a contract basis, and thus I can create more content, not even sponsored or which mentions this project some kind of, because if you will check out my GitHub, for example, you'll see that most of my projects are even not connected with projects I'm working on. Next, I'm getting donations, of course. Sometimes I get like big donations, $1,000, $2,000. It happens not often, unfortunately, but it helps me a lot. And these people are golden people, because they let me continue my work without going more into ads, into brandizing myself. So it's really community funded good. I'm trying to keep a balance between sponsored content and my own content. I'm trying to make my blog separate from my current job. I don't want to sell something to users. And initially, when I, for example, start talking about some kind of fact, beforehand, I make a strong check out. I check out its background, check whether it's not scam, or whether its project has the potential to conquer the market and maybe transform to. But if I see an opportunity in the project, I say yes and go work there on in its team. I mean, I own none of the projects which are presented on my profile. I'm not a co-founder or some kind of. I'm working there as a team specialist, and this just let me continue my work. Before this, in 2020, 2021, I got a really big, a fat airdrop from LobsterDAO, and this led me basically to continue my work during this period. Was an amazing opportunity, maybe $30,000 or something like this. Actually, big sum, and big thanks to LobsterDAO for this opportunity. So this answers your question.
Yeah, totally. I agree. I think that what you do and the way you manage it is, I think, the best way. I mean, how you manage incentives in order not to. I mean, you need time in order to do all the research and the articles that you. In fact, when I started seeing your articles, your blog, all the content you created, I said, "What the fuck? This cannot be only one guy doing all this content. It's a lot." And I know how much time it takes to make good content, to do all the research, to curate, to be sure about what you write, and so it's important to be able to have that time and to have the money to be able to be 100% dedicated there, and not having to accept money from any project, scams or pump and dumps and things that we get daily in our inbox. So I really like that approach. So before we begin with the 20 recommendations from OpSec, I want to ask you two questions. The first one, the first one was about what media, what websites or newsletters you read, but I will leave that one for the end. I have one other question first. what do you think is about the state of DeFi security? And given the state of security nowadays, when we talk about security in DeFi, I am talking about OpSec, but also, for example, smart contract audit. Given the status of security today, how much percent of your portfolio would you put in DeFi today?
Well, in the DeFi aspect, especially, I think it's still a bit of undervalued because here we have a monetary focused system. Like it's focused only about money, and most of founders and even whales think that security make costs higher, and it really shifts focus from gaining money, generating more money, to some kind of a look back or something like this. So security, of course, like probably recently I read about a new Yape circuit breaker, and which will probably lead to pause the protocol functions certain in case of attack, hack, or some kind of answering your question directly. I would put no more than 30% of my portfolio to DeFi because it's still risky, but it's usually and always up to you. So I'm not making a financial advice, and please, I strongly encourage you to do your own research before aping into something or providing liquidity to a pool or just taking your funds. Even though there are plenty of good projects on the market like Lido, like Aave, like Chainlink, and others. I just named several well-known, well-audited, multiple times projects. Regardless what they're actually building, whether it's good or bad, I don't care. Just see that they have a strong focus on security, which is, in my opinion, is good. But it won't, of course, reduce risks to zero. Like you should always assume that something can happen, like a BGP hack, or maybe phishing against you, or maybe a smart contract hack. Even it's still a very rare event. In more often, people lose money just by simple phishing, or just by clicking a wrong link, or downloading a malware file. Still, so I think community. I think security is still undervalued, no more than 30%. That's it.
Great. So now going to we were talking to what we were talking some minutes before. Some of the I have been like researching on all of the attacks in blockchain this year, and there's a clear trend of Web2 hacking techniques used to attack DeFi protocols or any kind of protocol or users. So the idea today was to have some recommendations from you on how to stay secure in this ecosystem, right? So do you want to start? Let's start with the first recommendation.
Well, I think it's still very hard to get started into all of this for a new user. I will start answering to another question, but I think we should put more time the education. I want to know this specifically because currently it's very hard just to follow up with all the changes on the in this sphere. Most of users still confuse scam signature with scam approve button, and most users even think that you can lose money just by connecting your wallet to a malicious app, which of course is wrong. And
great. So let's start with this list of recommendations that you have. Where would you start? Because something that I always talk sometimes when I talk to different teams or people regarding security is that you have to do lots of things, right, to have a really good OpSec. But sometimes, like, doing 3 or 4 things is enough to countermeasure or to be secure from like 80% of the attacks. So where do you want to start?
well, okay. Initially, I would suggest you to buy several different devices for your work. Like I can mention, for example, NitroPad. Initially, that's an IdeaPad by Lenovo, but in turn, this is an original IBM computer, which is also used on International Space Station. So you may guess if something is good enough to be used on International Space Station, you can also use it as well. So first of all, I suggest buying IdeaPad, ThinkPad, or NitroPad for work. Buying maybe an iPhone or a MacBook is also a good option because they're still hacked a bit less often than Microsoft, for example, Windows. Well, next, as a second step, I would recommend you to encrypt your system. You may use VeraCrypt for this. On MacBooks, that's FileVault. It's a built-in app. For VeraCrypt, I'd strongly suggest you to spend a couple of minutes Googling how to work with tomes, with registers, and the proper encryption, because it will really save your ass in case something bad happens, I promise. As a third step, I would recommend setting up a proper VPN service. I can recommend mulva.net because, as you know, their office has been even raided by the police, and actually they had nothing to show to them. It's in my opinion, a significant event to trust them my data. So I would recommend using OpenVPN configuration of mulva.net. Also recommend paying attention to Outline app and different VPN protocols you also may use. They know worse, know better than OpenVPN on WireGuard. Actually, as a fourth option,
One question regarding this first one. Do you recommend using the VPN all the time? Like, you have the VPN activated and you do everything with the VPN, or you just use it specifically for some apps, or specifically for the moment you are going to do something in crypto, for example?
I would recommend using VPN every time you're using non-cellular data, because if you are using your phone internet from your SIM card, it's more safe than using any Wi-Fi, even your home network, because it can be hijacked, DNS poisoned, RP spoofed, and so on. So I strongly recommend using VPN all the time when you're connected to Wi-Fi, regardless whether it's your home Wi-Fi network or a public spot. You should use VPN.
So you think that the VPN is important both for security, so that no one sees what you're doing, so that your information is more confidential, and also for privacy, so that the services that you use Or for example, the nodes where you connect when you send a transaction don't know your real IP, right?
Yes, but it also can protect you from several attacks, like I mentioned, DNS poisoning, RP spoofing, and so on. Because if someone will hack your home router, uh, he can actually spoof a website locally. Of course, SSL certificate will be different, but you may not see or spot the difference. And if you will connect to, for example, a known exchange address from your browser without VPN, you'll get a phishing one opened locally on your browser, so you may be hacked. It's a very common attack vector, especially in a suburban area where all separate houses have separate internet cable or single router and so on. So I strongly recommend using VPN all the time, or even installing into your router directly. Because, for example, if you have a Mikrotik router which runs OpenWrt operating system, you can install VPN to it and use it through your router. It will be more secure than just surfing net without anything. I understand that VPN can sometimes bring more risks, like VPN company can know something about you. For example, even mulvat.net, which is ranked as a top 1 VPN company, and they have passed multiple audits, OpSec audits, security audits, and so on. As I mentioned before, their office has even been raided by the police. But that's why I suggested to use OpenVPN configuration, because they have a UI, they have an app, and theoretically you can put a tracking pixel into this app and dox the person. Like that's why you should use VPN not via their app. You should run it in a correct way, because if VPN is run in incorrect way, it may be even worse that even without running a VPN. That's why I want to, and that's what I want to especially emphasize and to prove with the citation from Bruce Lee. It's like, be like water. You should be perfectly aware of why and what you are implementing for building your OpSec wall, and only this way you will be perfectly sure. And in case of an emergency, you won't get lost, you won't get confused and stuck. You know, this way you will react in a bit more fast way. I think I hope this answers your question.
Excellent, great. So we had the first 3 points. First was using different devices, like the ThinkPad, for example. And you said that one device for work and one device for example, for crypto. You have 2 devices. In fact, the other time I was thinking about this, and I thought, okay, I should have 3 devices, right? One at home where I have everything, one that I can take to a meeting or a conference or whatever, and then like a cold computer that you only use for specific things, right? But then like having 3 devices, I think that it's a lot, right? And perhaps with 2, we are okay.
Yeah, true. Of course, I agree with it, but here in crypto, we're supposing to make some kind of a new banking system, of a new global financial system, and usually banks get money uh, from us, from customers, exactly for this purpose, for the technical infrastructure. So if we want to in Web3, we must become our own bank. I mean, you can use an old phone and use some kind of a airgap.it service, which can turn your old iPhone or Android phone into a secure enclave, a secure air-gap sign-in device, which you can also use. And by the way, you can add whatever you'd like devices to this scheme, 5, 6, 7, whatever. I mean, the initial idea in that you have a specific log of actions you must execute on a separate computer, which you are using only for financial transactions, and then you're just like executing it. It's a method that has been used in banks when you have, for example, two offices, a front office and a back office, and only a single, fully controlled line of communication. Like what I can suggest making to you guys. Set up the first computer, make a Jabber on it, XMPP server, and start a chat, and make a second computer where you will also have the chat. And this way you can transform data from one computer to another one. You can even pass cookies from your browser and so on. This way, there are less chances that if you will get hacked, or if your frontline computer will be infected with a malware, your main computer will have damage. So basically, each computer in your scheme reduces risks slightly. So it's actually a decentralization in Web2, something like that. The idea initially comes from banking and was inspired by local security measures. So no wonder, I say.
Excellent, excellent. And regarding your recommendation about the IBM ThinkPad, yeah, I like it. In fact, 1 month ago, Anakata, one of the founders from the Pirate Bay, was here in Buenos Aires for Eco Party, and he made a presentation. And his computer was a ThinkPad, so we can confirm it's one of the best pieces of hardware to have. So first one was different devices. Second was using Veracrypt. That is for people who don't know. Veracrypt is the successor, let's say, of TrueCrypt. That is a software that you can use to encrypt your whole drive, your whole hard drive, your whole computer, or make virtual private disks, virtual encrypted disks. Sorry. Then third recommendation, VPN, and now fourth. Let's continue.
Sure. First would be installing a proper antivirus solution. I strongly recommend two of them, Komodo antivirus and Malwarebytes. Both of them are good enough to secure your device in a perfect way. But if you're seeking for bulletproof anonymity, of course, I won't recommend you to use antivirus solutions, because each app which has a UI theoretically can implement it, tracking pixel into it, and you might understand the consequences. So if you are doing something shady, don't use antiviruses. But that's a bad tip, after all. Well,
in fact, sorry, one thing regarding antivirus, that they want your opinion. And something similar happens when you install software, like, for example, Veracrypt. When you install an antivirus, for example, in Mac, it tells you that the antivirus will have full access to all the information on your computer, to manage the connections, to manage this and that. And I mean, in some way, you have to trust the antivirus company, right?
Yes, of course, of course.
And so the two brands that you recommended were for antivirus?
Yes, Komodo and Malwarebytes.
Excellent. And what do you think of this one from, this foundation Objective-C, that they have many different tools for security in Mac? There's one called, it's not an antivirus, but there's a tool called Task Explorer that checks all the tasks that you have running in your MacBook, and it checks them with the database of virus total to see if you have something infected. Did you see it or try it?
Yes, I'm aware of this tool existing. I also can suggest another awesome tool. It's called Little Snitch. Little Snitch, and this tool helps you to monitor your connections. It's a bandwidth monitor essentially, and it does 90% of antivirus work actually. Because it actually helps to spot the malware. And if I'm making a private investigation on someone's computer, I will, of course, implement whether Wireshark or Little Snitch. Both will help to spot the malware if it's still there, it's still active, and still communicating with its control and command server. That's what I mean. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, now I will let you continue.
Well, as a fifth option, I would suggest using a multisig whenever it's possible, of course. You can try Small app. It's a cool, tiny app. You can find it on Twitter, which helps managing safe multisig. I strongly recommend you to check it out. Also, delegate.cache. It's a really awesome app which allows you to delegate your address to another person, or just use it in a bit different way. You can Google a Substack article from the Delegate Cache CEO, Fubar, and learn about it yourself, because currently I will only mention it. I don't want to go into the details. It's also compatible with AirGap IT, I think. So you may also use it with it. Well, as the sixth option, I would recommend setting up a proper wallet defense. If you're using a MetaMask wallet, I would recommend you installing snaps, as many snaps as possible, because snaps which are currently being built, will have to protect your wallet from most of threats that are currently going around here. I mean, drainers, permit-style malicious signatures, approve, scam, fake tokens, and so on. Of course, it won't reduce the risks by 0%, as I already mentioned. A lot of depends on you and how do you manage your mindset, especially OpSec mindset, how you treat possible threats, and how you're trying to secure your working station, your home enclave. It's all about mindset. I also strongly recommend you to go to my blog and to find an article which is called OpSec Through the Prism of Time, how ancient stories teach modern humans about security in OpSec, and check it out, and I think you'll get my idea precisely. Well, next, I would suggest you to set up alerts to your wallet. You can use Tenderly or any other tool for this purpose, because it's really important in case of an emergency, or if you'll see a strange activity on your wallet. Sometimes you have enough time to take needed actions, or escape, evacuate your funds, cancel transaction, and so on. You can also secure yourself from hack on a logic level, assuming hacker will not know about minor extractable value and flash bots. You can set up a gas burner bot to your end. This way, no one will be able to uh, top up your wallet with needed gas. So, and thus in turn, no one will be able to withdraw your assets until you want to. It's a bit extreme way to secure your wallet, but I'll share a couple of links in my articles, especially in the article which is called Hacked Wallet Recovery Tool. In it, you can find a gas burner bot link somewhere in the end. So if you need it, go check it out. Well, next, I think you may set up a proper two-factor authentication. You can use a hardware authentication key like YubiKey, Titan, or for example, Nitro key. But I strongly suggest you to choose YubiKey over all solutions and competitors on market because I actually love them. I recommend you to buy two keys because if one of them will get lost, will get flooded with water, or will get burned, or just cracked, frozen, some kind of, you'll have a copy of your passwords, of your credentials, and it will help you. Trust me, it's true. Well, next, for the physical OpSec, I decided to include this point into my talk because I think physical OpSec is even more undervalued than smart contract security. So a lot of horror stories are happening around, and I'm trying to catch and analyze all of them. So hopefully now we have pretty decent solutions which can help us to protect ourselves from this kind of scam. Like you may set Siri shortcuts which will react, call the police, or call your private security company if you are a billionaire. In case you, for example, name a special code phrase, or if the noise in the room will be above certain amount. Like I think you get my idea. For more info, links, and tutorials, I strongly recommend you to go check out my OpSec guide on GitHub. There I outlined everything you need for physical OpSec, for the defense against threat actors, for defense against annoying paparazzi, and so on. I hope you will like it. Well,
Excellent. Then in relation to security, physical version of security, something that I like and recommend because it's pretty easy to use is, do you know this app called Alfred Camera? It's basically an app that you can use to turn any old phone into a camera. So for example, when you travel and you leave, I don't know, your computer or whatever in your hotel, or you leave your home, you can leave that phone filming, and if something happens there or something moves or whatever, you will get a notification in your phone, in your other phone, and you will be able to see, right? So you have a security camera with motion detection by only using an old phone.
it's so cool. Actually, I don't know about this, but I expected that something like this exists. I only assume that it may have a lot of false positive alerts, which may be really annoying sometimes. But we may explore this further, of course, because I really like DIY attitude, which such projects are trying to implement not only the project you've mentioned, but also, for example, airgap.it, which provides an ability to make a secure crypto enclave out of your old phone, the same as you may make a security camera out of your phone. It's actually perfect, even though the cost of security cameras currently are not very much. I think you can buy a pretty good one, no more than $100 somewhere in eBay or maybe just in the local shop. You just need to secure it properly because most of cams have built-in backdoors, exploits, and sometimes the ability to set up a password doesn't even work. I mean, Xiaomi cameras, they're ugly. So if you're choosing a camera, maybe, yeah, you should choose your phone camera because currently I think that's the most reliable camera in anyone's home.
Excellent,
Agree.
excellent. So, which was the next one now after this physical security?
Well, I have several extreme tips. Like, for example, you can set up honeypots on your computer. You can create an HTML file, name it like seed phrase or is, and place it somewhere on your computer. You may hide it somewhere. And into it, you may put canary tokens or IP logger tracking pixel. And if a hacker or anyone will open this document, get a notification via SMS or in Telegram, or for example, you can even get a call. It really helps a lot. And if your computer will get infected or your data will be siphoned from it, and if hacker will open it, you'll get notified, and probably you'll have 5 minutes to evacuate your funds or change passwords, or at least realize that you're hacked. I know.
Yeah, what's the name of this? Sorry, this platform. The Canary Token is the name of this platform that it gives you the text files to put in your computer. It also gives you like, I mean, it can protect you from that. You can also put a file, for example, with API keys and whatever. And when they detect that they have been used, you are notified in the moment. But I don't remember now the name of the platform. It was Canary something. It's Canary Token, the name.
Yes, it's canarytokens.org. The second one is iplogger.org. Both have similar solutions. They can be used in a bad way for doxing, for example, but you can also use them to secure your workstation, to secure your computer, and it's really an awesome way to get notified in case something happens. And I know quite a lot of people which told me that this tip saves their lives. truly saves their assets, saves them from being hacked. They got notified and evacuated their funds to a secure wallet, freshly generated on a separate device. So yeah, you should use both Canary tokens and IP logger. Both are extremely good. Strongly recommend. Well, let me move to the next tip. You should always keep your browser updated. This also goes to all of your software installed. In the aspect of browser, I suggest using better Firefox. Um, I know a quite good fork which is called LibreWolf. You can also use it, but if you want like use Chrome extensions, better use original Chrome, because all needed and especially important updates are first implemented into Chrome, and only then to the Chrome-based browsers. I mean Brave browser and other. No hard feelings, but that's the reality. Original browser uh, logically gets updates faster. But you may also use an alternative solution. I know quite a good tool, which I also can and want to recommend. It's called detect.expert. This is anti-detect solution, which actually a virtual machine which opens with a browser, and it has settings that will uh, help you to prevent websites, to know who you are, to know your computer model, your GPU fingerprint, and other creepy stuff they may use for doxing or finding who you. Well, next tip would be to change all passwords, maybe once in 3 months, once in half of a year, or if you're a specially targeted person, like you're a billionaire or a very famous activist, you should change passwords once a month. Better write them down on paper, but you can also use a password manager like KeePass or Bitwarden. Um, there is also a good option to use a flashcard key, um, the same way you're using your hardware wallet. It also works good. Well, another tip would be never work if you feel that you're unhealthy, that you're ill, or you are starving, because there are several researches that shows that people who think and feel that they feel uneasy, they have a risk of getting hacked with a slightly bigger probability than people who feel healthy, who have slept 8 hours before, and so on. It's very important, especially in military, but I think in crypto, we're nearing the same level of threats, I think, as in military, so it's a good tip for us as well. Well, the option would
Yeah,
be to like,
regarding
mhm.
one thing regarding that, I strongly agree. Perhaps someone listens to this and says, "What? I cannot be starving, or I must have slept 8 hours to do my work." But it's really, really important. And in fact, most of the times, now that you make me think about it, I hadn't thought about this. Most of the times that people are scammed, that perhaps people that are OGs in crypto, or really know how a computer works, or know about computers like security, whatever, is because they were scammed when they were tired and when they were doing lots of things at the same time, right? So I always say, do not hurry, do things slowly, write down what you're be ordered. That's number one.
Yeah, sure. That's what I mean. Not everyone is Caesar, so to handle multiple actions at once is almost impossible, especially when perform financial transactions. So please be sure that you're feeling like 100%. And this way, yes, you can work in crypto, and you'll probably notice a scam with a slightly bigger probability, because human is still a predator, and all predators hunt better when they feel good. That's what that's what I want to state, especially in the end.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, let's continue. With what? Which one were you now?
Okay, let's move to another point. Let me 1 second. I strongly recommend setting up an address book in your wallet to allow list certain addresses, uh, because I know a lot of people still getting scammed by a very dumb, in my opinion, address poisoning scam, in which hackers generate a wallet to which you typically send your funds. Um, they just copy they just generate a vanity address which looks exactly like the wallet you're sending money to, and then they make a zero approved transaction to your main wallet. And if you're copying an address from other scan when you're sending your funds, this may result in loss, because uh, initially their intent exactly in this. So if you're using an address book, I think that's more secure. So please whitelist your sex address, your main hot wallet address in your wallet. It's especially important. Well,
Yeah, in fact, and something related to that, I always used to recommend that. Do you know also this malware? You when you copy an address and it's in the clipboard, the malware modifies the address and puts another address, right? So you copy an address, you paste another one, and when you send funds, you send it to well, in fact, now this kind of malware has been updated, and when you copy an address, when you the pasted address finishes exactly as the one that you copied. So that's like makes things far more complicated. And then regarding these ones, the address poisoning that you were talking about, now I have seen lots of cases where the addresses start and end in the same rate, like the first 4 digits are the same, the last 6 digits are the same also. So we have to be very, very, very careful. I mean, because the issue there is that I have seen lots of cases of people losing money with address poisoning. That, for example, use Ledger, right? And you say, okay, I use a hardware wallet, I am okay. No, you are not okay just because you use a hardware wallet.
yeah, sure. That's what I mean. And of course, you should do integrity checkout, like maybe once per 2 weeks. You can just visit your settings and check if your address book wallet is correct, set up correctly, perfectly, in a perfect way. You should do this every day you come to work, the same way as pilots do, because as you know, each pilot has a checklist before landing, before taking off. So I think the same approach should be implemented here in Web3. This way, it will reduce the risks a lot, and a lot of people who have a hard times of getting all of these new features, it will be much easier for them, in my opinion. Well, mm, let me move another to another tip. It will be the last one, I think, because I got tired a little bit. Excuse me. Want to apologize. The last tip would be to generate your seed phrases and keys via the core client or core node. And only after that, I suggest you to import them to your wallet, to your hot wallet, to your hardware wallet. I don't tell that their libraries are bad or some kind of I just a fan of core solutions. Like, blockchains must be operated the same way as they were intended initially. Like the Satoshi stated this in his white paper, and I prefer more ascetic solutions for this. That's why please generate your addresses via the core client. I think that would be the last tip for today. Hope you liked my talk, and strongly recommend you to go to check out my articles and especially my OpSec guide. That was we've just discussed 15 unique tips with you. There are a lot of more, of course. Not all of them must be implemented exactly by you, because I can name different tactics, different methods, and the goal is to be able to choose the right one that will work for you, because as I already explained, you must be perfectly aware in your OpSec wall in what you are building and why, because in case of an emergency, seconds will count, like they will be extremely and especially important. You should pay your attention for training yourself into this mindset, and hopefully a lot of people will get it from my articles. That's what I'm trying to put into them. Hope it works good. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. And in fact, I think that it's also, I mean, it's very important to start doing all these configurations and all these recommendations regarding OpSec. But I think that it's also important to start thinking in a different way, right? Security is, I think that is like a state of the mind. So every time we are going to do a transaction, we are gonna log in into an exchange, we are gonna set up a new password or whatever, we should be asking ourselves, with what I am doing, am I making it easier or more difficult for an attacker to attack me, right? And to start thinking that way all the time. And the other thing that you said that I think I completely agree is it's very useful to do simulacrums, right? To simulate and to say, okay, for example, what happens if my phone gets stolen while it was unlocked in the street? What will the person that robbed my phone have access to? For example, what happens if one day I wake up and I look at my phone and I see that I have 20 emails in my Gmail account with password resets? What will I do in that moment, right? If we already know how to act in that moment, we will do it far better. So it's very important to do that simulacrum and to think about those situations, right? Oh, before we finish, I have one last question for you. What are the accounts or newsletters or media that you recommend in order to be updated into blockchain security, apart from officers' notes, obviously?
Okay. For the last question, I want to add a little bit about simulation. What you just talked about. Simulation is basically one of the basic principles of science, of the modern science, because when you simulate something, when you're applying certain simulation frameworks to it, you may see misconfigurations, you may see a point of denial, you might spot where your system has a weakness and thus react accordingly. As of course, it's also reflecting on our sphere, because, for example, currently, there are a lot of projects which are relying for simulations are building, for example, the Blockfence, the Web3 antivirus, other projects which I am, of course, glad to collaborate with. And all of them are implementing this very important and very modern idea, which initially were discovered in science by the people like Nikola Tesla or Albert Einstein in 20th century, simulation. And that's what we are using now. We are benefiting from their golden ideas. And of course, we must continue our work towards our final goal. Making Web3 sphere is a safe harbor for all and everyone, not just an echo chamber for a quite narrow selection of people. That's what I mean. Thank you.
Okay, officer. Well, thank you very much for all this knowledge that you have shared with us. Next week we are gonna publish this interview, this space that has been recorded. So well, it was a pleasure to listen to you. And well, if you have something else that you want to recommend or to say, or if you have some other media to recommend to follow, and if not, thank you very much.
Oh, sure, of course. I suggest you to check out mirror.xyz. It's a good blogging platform, and it has a lot of authors. Of course, I would recommend Blockthread newsletter. I would recommend a week in Ethereum news, and probably would recommend joining a Substack. Also, on it's a really good platform on which you can discover a lot of good authors who also write about crypto, OpSec, and cool stuff. You may see my own account. You may find my old account on Substack and see whom I follow there, and just copy follow my follows. That's a bad tip usually, but this time I would recommend you to do so. Thank you.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much. I recommend everyone to follow Officer's Notes here in Twitter, and you can also follow Blockfence account where we are sharing security tips and news every week. And well, we'll see you next time. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Blockchain Security Series, the podcast where the future of Web3 security unfolds. Presented by pablito.eth.